Hi students, and welcome to our live IELTS class today. Again, I hope that everybody is looking forward to a good weekend. I'm Adrian and I'm broadcasting from beautiful Victoria here on the west coast of Canada on Vancouver Island. It's a big island. It takes about 6 hours to drive from the south to the north part of the island, and that's highway driving. All right, everyone. So in this class, we are looking at IELTS listening for the listening section. Specifically, we are looking at parts 3 and parts 4 of the listening section. So kind of the more challenging second half, if you will, of the listening section. And of course, we're looking for that band 9 score. Band 9 on the listening means that you have to get every single question correct, or you can get one question wrong. And the topics for parts 3 and parts 4 today will be about taxes and Sir Isaac Newton, the very famous scientist. This lesson, the materials, we're taking it from aehelp.com for academic IELTS. Check us out there for the general IELTS. Visit us at gieltshelp.com. Both of those websites have tons of materials to help you. They are among the most popular IELTS training websites in the entire world. This is what the academic one looks like here. We'll use this for today's listening audio. Click that big red button that's just above my head there to access the premium IELTS package. And then you can have access to your My Student account, and in your My Student account, you will be able to get all the audio, videos, interactive courses. Of course, you can download the app, link the app. So lots of great learning. Again, just click that big button there, big red one, join now. Fill this out. You can use this code, audio9. We just released actually a listening exam on our YouTube channel, part 1 and 2 in the first video, part 3 and 4. It's a full listening exam, just like the real IELTS, so check that out. Audio 9 will get you a 20% discount. General IELTS, gieltshelp.com. Again, you can click this red button there that's kind of just sitting on top of my head. We are an official British Council IELTS Test Registration Center and certified agents, so you're in great hands with us. Now, if you have questions, students, just send me an email to Adrian at aehelp.com. Get our apps, Academic IELTS Help and General IELTS Help, in our app stores. Follow us on Instagram, IELTS_ahelp, GIELTS Help. We basically have tons of tools for you to learn from your mobile phone, from your PC, anywhere, anytime. And really, ensure that you get that high IELTS band score and get the maximum results that you can. So tomorrow we'll have writing task 1 for our members, and then we'll have speaking part 3 for everyone. The speaking, of course, everybody will be able to join. Somebody was asking me about speaking there. Let me just pop out this chat here, and then I can see a little bit better what you're doing. I've got multiple screens and I'm looking at what you're saying, so I can see that Carolina, our chat moderator, is here. Welcome. Welcome to our students, Rashika, Amra, and all of our members. And then, yes, I can see Eugen. Hi, I hope you're doing great. Thank you for the emojis. So, yeah, I can see all that. That's great. I'm just going to pin you. Give me 2 seconds for me to do that. All right. Then I make sure that you're not going anywhere with that chat. Okay. Angel is asking, do they use normal speed for listening skills? Yeah, absolutely. And I might as well give you that as a first tip for the IELTS listening section. So keep this in mind. This is just a tip here. Okay. So IELTS is an English proficiency exam, not an ESL exam. The exam and examiners do not care if you are native or not native speaker of the English language. Okay, it doesn't matter to them. It's a proficiency exam. It's basically how well do you use English. What does that mean? And it's good to remind students of this sometimes, because I think there's a bit of a confusion that IELTS is an ESL exam, which it's not. Okay. So this means that the speaking, listening is at a natural speed. They do not adjust any part of the exam for non-native English speakers. Okay, they do not repeat information. Okay, so they don't repeat really information in the speaking or in the listening, so you just have to do it. All right. Let me check my latency settings just to be sure here that we're not... We're just going to double check this. Just give me a second. Yeah, we're on ultra low latency, so we're good. Okay. All right. Yeah, that's right, Shub Sharat. They're testing your skills, grammar, coherence, vocabulary, communication in a big way. Okay. All right. So, students, without really too much further ado, hi Anish. Hi Shuksruks. Okay. So without too much further ado, let's get into the listening. If you have a headset, so what we're going to do is we're going to listen and answer the questions. This listening is our 6th exam, and we are in part 3 of the exam. We had a chance to look at this topic. It's going to be something about taxes. Okay. All right. So here we have section 3, and for the audio, I'm just going to hop over to the website. Now, you can only get this audio if you have access to our premium IELTS package. And again, you get access by clicking this big red button there. And then you can have HD videos. They're nice, high quality and smooth and pre-recorded. Okay, so my student account. This is going to be in the IELTS audio CDs here. Okay. And you open that up. And then you go to CD 6 because this is exam 6 and it's section 3. So for those of you that can make this out, you know what? I could probably get this a little bit bigger. There. So for those of you that have access to our premium IELTS package, it's right here. It's CD 6. Okay. All right. So get ready to listen, answer up. I suggest not putting your answer into the chat. Wait until the end. Give everybody a fair chance, and then we'll go through the answers together at the end. So let's do this, okay? So here we go. Use a headset if you got one, all right?
Now turn to section 3. Take some time to look at questions 21 to 26. Listening, Section 3. You will hear a radio host and his guest discussing the virtues of various art forms. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21
that's the wrong audio,
to 26.
I'll switch. This is test 3. My bad.
All right,
So
welcome back, everyone. Our next guest is the curator of a major art gallery in the city.
Yeah, boom. There we go.
Now turn to Section 3.
Now we're
Take some time to look at questions 21 to 26.
I thought we were on our second exam book, but this is our first
Listening,
exam.
Section 3. You will hear a public forum discussion
So you saw me
between
kind of
the
go through the
moderator
questions
and
there.
two
That's about the speed that you
contributors,
need to review.
Dr. Philip McPhee and Dr. Ron Tatum, both political scientists at the local university, talking about the nature of taxes in society. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 26.
First of all, I would like to thank Dr. McPhee and Dr. Tatum for taking time out of their busy lives to spend this evening with us.
Thank you for having us.
Dr. McPhee, could you give us a little bit of the history of taxation?
Certainly. Taxes have been around almost as long as civilization itself. There are records of taxes being collected by Egyptian pharaohs approximately 5,000 years ago. It was customary to give 20% of your production to the pharaoh, and those who evaded taxes were severely punished.
Dr. Tatum, what are the reasons for taxes?
Well, there are essentially 3 major reasons for taxes. The first and most obvious reason is revenue. Governments need money, and taxes fulfil this need. The government then spends this tax revenue on investments that are good for society, such as healthcare, schools and roads. Funding the army would fall under this category as well. The second reason for taxation is for the redistribution of wealth. In simpler terms, this means taking money from the rich and giving it to the poor. Many societies do this out of a belief that it is the responsibility of the government to look after the poor people in society. I'll let Dr. McPhee talk about the final reason for taxation, called repricing.
Thank you, Dr. Tatum. Yes, the third main reason for taxation is called repricing, and by this we mean changing the price of a product to a different, generally higher price. This may sound quite strange, but if you bear with me, you'll see that it makes perfect sense. In general, products are allowed to be priced in a free market. That is to say, whoever can provide goods for the lowest price is the most successful. However, there are certain types of goods that we don't allow to go to the free market. In many countries, these are goods like tobacco and alcohol. These goods are subject to a repricing tax, which is used to discourage people from using the product. Also, these repricing taxes help offset the future medical costs associated with the people who use tobacco and alcohol excessively.
You now have some time to look at questions 27 to 30. Now listen to the rest of the discussion and answer questions 27 to 30.
Very well. Do you favour higher or lower taxes?
I am a strong proponent of higher taxes. The reason for this is simply that it is easier to make money when you already have money. This gives a massive advantage to those people who may have inherited money or come from rich families, because money is so much easier to gain for these people if used wisely. Taxing them seems only fair and for the greater good. This compensates the poorer sections of society who really have little or no hope to gain financial success.
I understand Dr. Tatum's position, but one has to be wary of the fact that if taxes are too high for businesses, then those businesses will leave the country in favour of countries with lower taxes. Of course, it would be nice if we could legislate a worldwide tax structure, but this is simply not attainable. And I'm sure by the time it becomes attainable, companies will likely have opportunities to leave for another planet with more favourable tax structure.
Yes, you're right, Dr. McPhee. We must always be mindful of staying competitive. It is like a tightrope we must walk between compensating those less fortunate and being able to stay competitive in the market. Because if we fail to be competitive, then tax revenue will dry up, resulting in no money at all for the lower economic classes. So this is an extremely difficult balancing act.
Which leads to my next question. What is the future of taxation?
I believe you will see higher taxes in 50 years than there are today, just as we have higher taxes today than 50 years ago. We will need even more money for projects like high-speed transit, new roads, new technologies. Also, with an ageing population, medical costs could soar in the near future, resulting in higher taxes to support this healthcare system.
I think the future will be a lot like the present, walking the tightrope as Dr. Tatton mentioned. Where that takes us, I'm not sure. If I had to guess, I'd say higher taxes for the reasons Dr. Tatton outlined. However, another important variable to consider is whether free markets can really be allowed.
That is the end of section 3. You will now have half a minute to check your answers.
Okay, let's just stop the audio and use that half minute that they give you always to check. Okay, check your answers. So let's go back to the beginning and do this together. All right. Notice how I highlighted the instructions. It's especially this part here. No more than 2 words and or numbers. So even if you have the correct answer but you're using too many words, then you will actually get it wrong. So here you can use 2 words and or a number, okay, which means you can have 1 word, 1 number. So here, number 21, I heard the word Egyptian, names of countries, people. They're pretty easy to catch, so they help you track where you are in the audio. Okay, so really pay careful attention to names, especially names of people and countries, places. Okay, so here's a tip. All right, names of people, places, objects help you to track the audio, so pay attention. Okay. All right, and here I definitely heard Egyptians' income, and I heard 20%, right? I'm sure many of you did as well. Okay, we heard that 20%, but I don't think that's the right answer. Okay, because we have this number here, this 10,000, and that's a red flag. Okay, why would we have 10,000? So it's a conditional. If an Egyptian's income was 10,000, how much would be given to the pharaoh? Best answer? That's right, Amu. That's right, me. It's 2,000. So pay attention to the given information. The correct answer here is 2,000. Okay, because it's 20% of 10,000. So okay, IELTS, again, it's not an ESL exam, it's a proficiency exam, and they're also testing your thinking. Okay, so keep that in mind. Yeah, Shub Sharad, if you write 20% in this case, it will be wrong. Okay, because then the question would be what percentage of the income. So you have to be specific when you can be. Okay. Now, here they said the first reason mentioned for tax, and here they say first reason. Now that's kind of lucky, careful. You won't always hear that, okay? Sometimes it'll just be a paraphrase. So the first reason for taxes, according to Amu, is revenue. Yeah. And you can write all capitals, but this is a common noun, so just revenue is correct. Okay. Revenue, yeah, income, right? So governments need to make money so that they can support infrastructure, schools, and so on. It's revenue. Okay, the second reason for taxes, that was a little bit of a more challenging word. So revenue is kind of a word that most people should be familiar with. The second one was a little bit less specific. Shubsharadamu, very good. Sucharita, nice, yeah. You don't need the of wealth part. Remember, it's 2 words. So you can't have 3 words. Amra, if you write redistribution of wealth, it's wrong. So it's just redistribution. Okay? Simply redistribution is enough. Known as redistribution. Takes money from the rich, gives it to the poor. Okay, and then we had a chart, this one here, your chart, it's a 2-branch chart, so one side, other side, all you had to do here was put the letter. So it's write the correct letter. Pay attention, not the word. If you write the word, again, you'll get it wrong. So careful with that. So on the one side here, we have allowed to go to the free market, right? And then here we have subject to something. Okay, so that's the difference. All right. So what is number 26? Not 24, not 25, but what's 26? Tell me that. Okay. Very good, Sucharita. Just remember, it's the letter. Yeah, so 26 is D. It's repricing. Okay. Repricing means that the product gets a different price. It means that it's not the same price as the cost of production, etc., but there's an extra cost. So number 25 then, what kinds of products need this repricing tax? So what's number 25? You're probably thinking, Adrian, have you lost your mind? Why are you going backwards? Why are you going from 26 to 25 to 24? That's because there's a logic here, right? So I'm comparing the 2 sides, free market versus repricing tax. Repricing tax, these products are products that hurt people, that are bad for people, that cost society money because of healthcare, because of accidents, right? Drinking and driving, falling off a ladder drunk or a balcony. So they cost money. And one substance that's like that is alcohol, right? When people drink alcohol, they sometimes do something crazy, bad behaviors that cost money. And so the government, yeah, they're going to be like bad, but at the end of the day, it's money, right? So they're going to reprice that and hopefully use that money to pay for those extra costs. Opposite to this, you have products that can go to the free market, like food, orange, piece of cheese. So products that we believe aren't necessarily harmful to society. Those products, Amra, Amu, correctly feel should be general goods. Yeah. So general goods, basically anything that doesn't hurt the individual or society. So that was E. So again, here you had to choose the correct letter. So it was E, B, D, right? Okay. All right. So now comes 27. Question 27, 28, 29. And here you had to write choose 3 arguments in favor of lower taxes. So where they think lower taxes are good, they're good for society. And we had A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay, F kind of slipped onto the next page for me here. But that's fine. Let me see if I can, maybe we can get F on there. Yeah, so there's F. 6 choices, and I have to choose 3, and these are long. Okay, careful everyone in the listening. You can't really read all of this quick enough and hear all of this to be accurate. And so you saw me do this, the notes. Yeah, no, Mr. Senti, 24, 25, 26 is not any order. You have to have the correct order. Okay, they're unique questions. All right. 27 to 29 can be any order. Okay. All right, so notes, and then what else I can use here if I don't catch everything is logic, right? So the logic that I know about lower taxes. Okay, I caught a couple of notes while I was listening that if taxes are really high, businesses leave. I also caught this one that, we have to be competitive, so we can't have really high taxes because then it decreases competition. Okay, so let's see which answers. So B, businesses will leave the country if taxed too harshly. So that looks good. Yeah, B is matching with my notes. Okay, and then stay competitive. Yeah, look, I got D there. A country must be able to stay competitive in the global market. So that's stay competitive. Now, I couldn't catch the other one, so I'm going to see if I can use my logic to figure out which one should be the next answer. So it's easier to make money when you are already rich. I think that's more for higher taxes. Inheriting money requires no hard work. I didn't really hear him talk about that. A worldwide tax structure can be implemented. They actually said it's not possible. And then lower taxes in the end up benefiting everyone, including the poor. Yeah, I heard them talk about that, and that makes sense, right? So when you have lower taxes, poor people can also benefit from those lower taxes. Some countries like Japan, for example, have proven that to be the case. So F looks to be correct, okay? Logically. So I got B and D from notes, and I got F from logic, okay? When you have these complicated multiple choice questions with a lot of content, I highly recommend using notes and logic and not trying to pick it out from the list while you're listening, because even as a native speaker, that's really hard to do. There's just too much information that's going on. All the information on the paper or on the computer, and all the information that you're hearing. Does that make sense? Okay. Everybody got that? So with these, again, so this is a big one. This is where I think I can save many of you some points for your, and you do have note paper for your computer-based exam as well. Okay. So here's another tip or a strategy. Okay, for complex multiple choice questions with lots of content in the answers and choices, it is best to take notes based on the question. So you're not just randomly taking notes, you're taking notes based on the question. And using logic. Okay, so of course I wasn't just randomly taking notes here, ladies, gents. I was thinking of given in favor of lower taxes. Okay, so I was thinking about that when I was taking my notes. Nitu, Shucharita, and Rashika, everyone else, good. Okay. So Shupshara is asking, how do you take notes? Okay. Listen for the emphasis. That's a good question, Shupsharat. So Shupsharat says, how do I take notes? That was a good question by Shupsharat. Okay. So how do I take the right notes? How do I catch the right notes? Answer, listen for the emphasis and repeated information. Okay, usually that's the answer. So when they're like, businesses will leave the country for another country. That's right. Businesses will go to another place where they have lower taxes. So they'll repeat it. Okay? All right. So that's what you have to pay attention to, the emphasis and the repetition. Okay, same thing for this multiple choice. I really just used my logic, took a note, and then I can figure it out. Number 30, what do the speakers believe about taxes in the future? Higher taxes, higher taxes. They say it like 3 times, that repetition, that emphasis, right? So the correct answer, as is agreed by me, Amu Amram, is C. Yeah, they will be higher, of course. Okay, they emphasize that. Okay, students, count your marks. So how did you do out of here out of 10? Okay. For part 3 and part 4, your goals should be around 7 or greater. Okay. So what did you get out of 10? Minhao, 11 is very ambitious. That's great. The roasting show says 8. Shubsharat 9. Yeah, if you got 8 or 9, that's really good. 8 is good too. Okay, as long as you're getting over 7 for part 3, you're golden. All right. Okay, let's go on to the last and final part, part 4. Okay, 4 parts to the listening, which is good because I've run out of coffee. All right. So again, we're switching back to the audio on the website. Okay. And this is going to be about Isaac Newton. Okay. Keisha, the accent here, they're British. They're all British in these audios. Lots of British speakers in Canada, so we record with British speakers. Okay, British English. Here we go with listening 4. Get ready. And again, put your answers separately from the chat and then share them when we're doing the answers. It'll work better. Here we go, everyone.
Now turn to section 4. Take some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Listening section 4. You will hear a lecture about English scientist Isaac Newton. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
Today we are going to discuss the life and achievements of the famous English scientist Sir Isaac Newton. Many consider Newton to be the most brilliant man to have ever lived, and many consider his achievements the greatest ever achieved by one man. Newton himself was not so sure, as he famously told his followers, "If I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants." While it may be true that he built upon the foundation of scientists before him, he still managed to see further than anyone else had, and to this day his accomplishments stand the test of time. Isaac Newton was born in England in 1643. He studied at the King's School in Grantham from age 12 to 17. After leaving school, his mother tried to make him into a farmer, but that was not going to be sufficient for young Isaac. A year later, in 1661, on the recommendation of one of his teachers at the King's School in Grantham, Newton was admitted to Trinity College in Cambridge, where he eventually became a teacher 6 years later. Newton is perhaps most famous for his work on gravity. A well-known story says that Newton realized the nature of gravity while he was sitting under a tree and an apple fell on his head. This story may or may not be true, but the underlying principle is valuable. Newton made the astonishing discovery that the same force that makes an apple fall to the earth also makes the Earth revolve around the Sun and the Moon revolve around the Earth. Until this time, scientists such as René Descartes and Gottfried Leibniz had believed that the planets moved in some sort of matter, something they called an ether. Newton demonstrated that no such ether was required. Descartes and Leibniz also had little explanation for why apples fall to the earth. Newton's theory accounted for this almost perfectly. During the 20th century, Newton's theory came under attack by the German physicist Albert Einstein, whose theory of relativity was said to replace Newton's theory of gravitation. This is simply not true. Einstein's theory is a landmark achievement in science, but it did not replace Newton's theory, it merely improved it. To picture this, think of a smooth ball, perhaps a billiard ball. In this experiment of the mind, Newton tells us that the ball is smooth. However, Einstein says that the ball has small imperfections, dents, cuts, and scrapes. Who is right? The answer is both of them. Newton is correct on a macroscopic scale. When we look at the ball from a distance, the ball is smooth. However, Einstein is correct as well. The ball does have imperfections. He is correct on a macroscopic and a microscopic scale. Another of Newton's important achievements is the reflecting telescope. Previously, Galileo had used lenses to construct his telescope, but Newton was the first to use mirrors in a telescope. Today's telescopes are almost all made of mirrors as opposed to lenses, which again speaks to Newton's brilliance. There are a number of reasons the mirror is an improvement over the lens in telescopes. First, mirrors do not warp as easily as lenses do, and by that I mean that lenses can lose their shape in hot or cold weather quite easily. Second, telescopes with mirrors take up less space because of their shorter focal distance. Third, telescopes with mirrors can be built far larger because the mirrors themselves can be built larger. An achievement of Newton's that must not be overlooked is Newton's discovery of calculus. Although the discovery was not without controversy, Gottfried Leibniz also claims to have invented calculus at approximately the same time. Nobody really knows the truth, but it is accepted that they discovered it separately. In any case, it was a brilliant achievement by both scientists. Newton died in March 1727, and his body was laid to rest at Westminster Abbey in London, in a famous above-ground tomb. He was 84.
That is the end of section 4. You will now have half a minute to check your answers.
All right, students, check those answers in that half minute. As I keep saying, it's a great way to catch mistakes, spelling mistakes, information mistakes, logic mistakes. So you're looking for those in that half minute. And then you are improving your band score. So use that half minute. You have chances to think about your answers more when you're transferring your answers to the answer sheet. So use that half minute for looking for mistakes and checking your answers, okay? All right, so you saw me do what I was explaining earlier, where I was really paying attention to names and dates, like 1643. I knew that information was coming that would become quite important for me. Names of schools, right? Places, as I mentioned. King's School in Grantham. Look at that hot pink color. It's great. So that allowed me to catch the right information. And here, he studied at the King's School in Grantham from the age of something to something. So filling in 2 blanks here, we only need the numbers. Me says those numbers should be 12 and 17. Yeah. And that's all it is. It's 12 and 17. So that's all you need. 12, you don't even need the 2. You just need 12, 17. Okay, because they give you the 2. So it's 2 words and or a number, 2 numbers in this case. Okay, you don't need the 2. All right. Okay, and then Newton leaves school. He finishes school. And then his mother wants him to be a what? So mom's like, all right, Newton, good job in school. Now it's time for you to be a... Okay. And yeah, we've got Dorsey, Mr. Senti, and many others saying, Mom wants Newton to be a farmer. Get out there, throw some seed, grow some fruits and vegetables. Farmer. Take care of the livestock. Proper noun, you don't even need to capitalize it, so just farmer like that, okay? That is the correct answer. So, previous one, 1217. By the way, that has to go in the same space, 31. 1961, so again, there was that kind of date that helped me to identify that, okay, that's where I'm going with it. Anish, good job, 1217, farmer. Yep, good work. You caught the right answer. He's admitted to Trinity College. Again, that was easy to hear, the Trinity College part. And then 6 years after the beginning, Newton becomes something. What does he become? Abhijit says teacher. Yeah. So instead of a farmer, he is now a teacher. And teaching is a great way of learning. And that's exactly what he did, right? He continued learning through teaching and developing his theories and ideas. And then suddenly we're introduced with all of these other famous scientists. Galileo from Italy, Descartes from France, Leibniz from Germany, Einstein from Austria, right? Hopefully these names are somewhat familiar. If they're not, it's okay. It's not the end of the world, but hopefully you've come across these at some point in your studies. Bobby, yep, teacher, all capitals, by the way, Bobby, it's okay. You can do that. Okay, so number 34, believed that planets moved in an ether. Ether is like some kind of liquid or air or substance, right? 34, according to Otabek, is C, like Descartes and Leibniz. Indeed, it's true. So this is C. Descartes, Leibniz, they were like, okay, it's got to be like some kind of liquid that we're kind of swimming through. Okay, and then number 35, developed a theory which was thought to replace the earlier theory of gravity. So number 35, that replacement theory. By the way, what is that theory called? It's very famous. You probably all know it. Give you a hint. E equals mc squared. So, D is correct. Good job, Amu. Good job, Otabek. So, D is definitely correct. Good job for everyone who answered D there. Shrinidih. Yep, nicely done. Very good, Amu. Amu says, and me says, it's the theory of relativity. Dan Koa was actually one of the first to answer that. Theory of relativity. Yeah, it's the theory of relativity. But it didn't replace the theory of gravity, right? As we discovered, it just improved it. It made it better. Okay. Violence. So the way to solve this violence is asking, how do I solve this kind of question? So I'm paying attention to the names like Galileo, Newton, Descartes. Hopefully I know a little bit about these people, at least maybe a couple of them. Okay. And then I'm using logic and I'm listening for certain keywords like ether. Okay, they basically have to use the word ether. There's no way to get around that. No paraphrasing. It's going to be used, so you're listening for that ether. When you see these quotation marks, like replace, around that, or the experiment of the mind. What does that mean? So when you see that quotation mark, what does it mean? Okay. It's a good question by Violence, how to, violence spelled weirdly, how to catch the right answers. It's a good question. Okay. So here's an important tip. When you see quotation marks, okay, it means that you have, yeah, exactly me, a direct quote. And you will hear exactly that information verbatim. Verbatim in the audio. So you know that you're listening exactly for that information. Okay, verbatim means word for word. It's the same. Right? And we have that several times here. We have replace, smooth, experiment of the mind. That gives us a lot of help to position. Okay. All right. In the experiment of the mind tells us that the billiard ball is smooth. So experiment of the mind, two people there, Einstein and Newton. Which one said that it's kind of smooth? Yeah, very nice for those of you answering. Amu. Yeah, it's B. So the ball is smooth. Einstein said, no, it's not smooth. You've got imperfections. You've got, scratches and things on the ball. So 36 is B. 37 used not mirrors. Be really careful with, these should always be a red flag, not the negatives. 37 used not mirrors but lenses in the construction. Weekend Just says it's A. That was Galileo. Galileo. What a great name. If I had that name, I would just sing my name all the time. Galileo. All right, A. Galileo, yeah. A brilliant mind in his own right. Absolutely. Galileo. Okay, one of the first people to start charting the stars. Wonderful scientist. Okay, so Galileo, A. So the correct answers were C, D, B, A. C, D, B, A, okay? Now, we've got 3 more questions. These two, it's fill in the blanks. No more than 2 words and or a number. Telescopes with lenses cannot be built as large as telescopes with mirrors because large lenses tend to what? What happens to big lenses? Giant camera lens. Yeah, they tend to lose shape, right? Glass is liquid. It's a very slow moving liquid. But of course, when heated and cooled, it moves faster, right? So if you heat it up enough, it actually moves quite quick. Glass is a liquid, so it loses shape. And when a lens loses shape, it becomes kind of useless. It distorts. Mirrors lose shape too, but mirrors don't distort as much when they lose shape. Okay. Telescopes with mirrors take up less space because of their reduced something. So lenses, if you're thinking of a camera, those big teleobjective lenses are so long, right? And when you're looking at lens telescopes, they're super long. But when you look at mirrored telescopes, they're like short little tubes, right? Dorsey says it's a focus distance. Almost, Dorsey. Unfortunately, no cigar, as they say. Shubsharat and Umra, you've got it right. It's focal. The adjective here is focal. Focus is the verb or the noun. The adjective is focal. So it's focal distance. It's an irregular adjective. So focal distance is the correct word. Okay, those were the right answer. Lose shape and focal distance. Okay, last but not least, number 40, calculus. Ooh, I dreaded calculus in school. I'm not a big numbers guy. I'm not huge on math. I wish I were a bit better. I mean, I do okay, but it's painful for me. Calculus, certainly not an easy type of math or an easy branch of math. Calculus, irregular numbers, waveforms and patterns and predictions using calculus. Which statement is true? Something about Leibniz inventing it at the same time but discovering it separately. So Newton and Leibniz discovered calculus together? Yeah, no. One's a British guy, one's a German guy. Didn't really see it happening. Okay. Bobby, some good answers there. Careful with 2 words for the previous. Okay. Anish, change shapes is not going to work. Focal length is not going to work either. Focal distance. Okay. Newton and Leibniz discovered calculus separately during the same time period. Yeah, that matches my notes. So B. Okay. All right. So again, everybody, just to be clear, 31, 12 to 17, 32, farmer, 33, teacher, 34C, 35D, 36B, 37A, 38 lose shape, 39 focal distance. If you misspell lose with 2 O's, loose like that, or loss like that, then you'll get that wrong. So it has to be correct spelling. There cannot be an extra O there. Number 40B, separately during the same time. All right, everybody, now's your chance to check how you did overall. So again, as long as you're getting 7 or more in parts 3 and 4, you're on the right track. If you're not getting that, you want to get that to get those higher band scores. For those of you that were here last week, how was your score out of 40? What did you get from 40? I'll show you why I'm asking you that, because if you know your score from 40, you can literally go to our website, aehelp.com. At the bottom of the website, so let me actually, let's go back to the main page here. It's on every page. I'm just kind of showing you where this is here on the main page. Tons of people go to our website just to click on this. So right here next to me in the bottom, I wonder if you get, yeah, you can see that. Yep. Is this, I made it huge, is the score calculator. Okay. You can click on that score calculator, and then you can put in your score. So like Weekend Just says, I got 36. So 36 is a band 8. You can see that here, okay, how it's calculating. Academic reading is here. For general IELTS, use the general one because it doesn't work the same way. Okay. All right. An Huang Tron says the number is 32. 32 is a 7.5. Rashika says 30. Rashika, that's a band 7. Okay. Sanjay, 38 would be an 8.5. Okay. All right, so that's how it's calculated. Again, just another one of the great tools that we have on our website. Students, I know money is tight these days. I know the world is going in all kinds of strange directions, but one place where you should still be spending a bit of money, especially for something as important as IELTS, is for your training. Free materials are good, but paid materials are better. And often when you pay a little, you can save a lot. And so many students that use our materials are like, okay, I only sat the IELTS once, I got band 7, I'm done. So many people, when they're using all kinds of free materials, especially when they're getting bad information, like just skim and scan for your results or just use abacadabra for the listening, they don't do as well. So joining our premium IELTS course here, click it, one-time payment, lifetime access, costs about 1/10 of the actual IELTS exam. That's 1/10. So yeah, good idea. Use it. Okay. Click that join now button and you get the apps and everything as well. Okay, students, so that's it for today's listening class. But tomorrow I shall be back. I shall be back with task 1, writing, academic for members. And then we'll have speaking part 3. And as many of you know, in our speaking classes, I actually speak and interview students and then give real feedback to them. So check that out. Come back. Carolina, thank you for moderating both of these classes today. That takes so much effort. These 3 hours. I'm amazed that you hung in there. Me, Sanjay, Amu, Rashika, Amra, so many of our members. Thank you so much for being here. Once again, aehelp.com, academic IELTS, glshelp.com, general IELTS. Keep up the good studies, and hopefully I will catch you tomorrow. Much love to all of you wherever you are in this wonderful world right at this moment. I'm Adrian, signing out for now. Goodbye.